and welcome to the NC podcast. My name is Natasha Collins and I am the host and founder of NC Real Estate, which includes its members club for landlords and property investors to come and build profitable property portfolios that completely align with their goals. If you haven't been to my website recently, can I please urge you to go and do it? Because you're probably thinking, Natasha, I need all the property investment resources because I'm ready to get going and I want to do X, Y, and Z. Fantastic. Come to my website, ncrealestate.co.uk. What you will see when you first get to the website is a pop-up, and that's for a master spreadsheet. If you haven't got my master spreadsheet yet, you're going to want it. So type your name and your email address in, and I will send that straight through to you. Then, whilst you're there, take a look at my list of programs. So that's everything I offer. On top of the members club, you will also find out information about the other programs, short courses that I have on offer, longer courses, how to book a call with me, all the goodness that I have on offer. So if you really need some additional property investment help and support, go to my website, ncrealestate.co.uk. And I promise you, you will walk away with some absolutely awesome resources. Okay, so today we're back in the studio. I've got Josh, who is the producer of the Brooklyn Podcasting Studio. We're back here. He's opened up again, and I'm very excited because it's starting to feel a little bit like things are returning to some sort of normalcy. Normalcy? That's probably not even a word. Okay, fine. Anyway, normality, that's the word. And I thought I would come back to you just as me, because we've had so many great interviews over the last couple of months, and I've got some great interviews scheduled coming out over the next couple of months as well. But I thought I would do a check-in today, let you know where I am, what I'm looking at, things that I've seen people discussing and talking about, and all of these different things that I'm seeing going on in the industry. I have made copious amounts of notes. I've actually come prepared for my own podcast, which sometimes I've been known not to in the past, and just given you a 30-minute chat about what I know about the subject. But today I have some specifics. First things first, a lot of what I've been mulling over is that people are feeling completely out of their league with property investment right now. Like, what they're doing isn't good enough. It's not Instagram worthy or social media worthy, or there's a lot of information all around social media which is telling you, do this, don't do this. You're an idiot if you're doing X, Y, and Z, but you're freaking amazing if you've just started developing a 100-unit block, and my gosh, you're going to get that finished within the next 6 weeks. Obviously, that's not going to happen. I just want to come to you and say, property investment doesn't need to be impressive. It just needs to hit goals and meet objectives. So can we please get rid of this notion that we have to be flashing things around social media the whole time, showing off about what we've done, what we're doing? Yes, it's very inspirational to see other people's projects, but if you don't have a project that you can show off right now because you know what, you've been social distancing and you can't get out to your projects, that is absolutely fine as well. You don't need to be posting about things to actually be doing things. We really have to keep that that mindset, and I also have to keep that mindset because there's a lot of things that go on in the background that I never get around to posting on Instagram stories or on Facebook or all of these different things. I don't have the time during my day to sit there and think, oh, an email's just come through and now I'm going to renegotiate on X because Y is happening. Life does not happen like that in property investment. It really doesn't. Things come in, you deal with them, you send them back out, you forget about them, and on you go. That is as simple as it's got to be. One of the updates that I've got with my property portfolio, which if we think back to pre-COVID and what I was discussing at the beginning of the year, if you can even remember that it was the beginning of 2020, do you remember I had a leasehold tribunal going on? And it was incredibly it was quite a heated tribunal because it had gone back so far. It had gone back 7 years. This was something we were still debating and still discussing. Well, yesterday I got an email through from the tribunal, and they basically said, guys, can you sort this out yourselves? What's going on? And the head leaseholder, who has always been the aggressor in this, pretty much, they are the people who just keep prodding the beast to get everybody fighting over things, which they've just not needed to do, came back and said, we don't have a problem with the leaseholders. Oh, shock. But instead, please, as a tribunal, can you just make the decision of whose responsibility it is to do the roof works, and we will go ahead. Do you know what? For me, that's like water under the bridge now. Fantastic. We're not going to tribunal. We're not wasting our time anymore. We got what we want. We're going to get the roof works done. All we're waiting for is a tribunal decision, and that is it. And actually, thinking about it, having that time off where people could reflect and not get so heated seems to have done wonders for this, because it will just continue. It will just continue as it is, and we'll get the job done, I hope. Like, if this goes on for another 7 years, I'm not going to be happy. But for now, I'm really, really, really happy to just let that, okay, fine, thanks for the decision. We knew you never meant to take us to tribunal. You were probably just piling on the pressure, hoping that we would say go ahead with the works, which is what we did. Fair game. And that's that. No hard feelings. So that's a really positive thing for me to come out of it. Positive in the fact that I'm optimistic that the roof works might get done one day in the next 12 months. Secondly, can I just say how helpful everybody is now being around contractor work and managing properties and getting things sorted out. I find the innovation that is going on due to COVID to just be phenomenal. For example, in one of the properties that I look after, I've had a lot of works that needed to be doing, and that includes putting up new blinds, fixing old blinds, cleaning things, all of the kind of bits and pieces that go on. This isn't Instagram worthy stuff. This isn't stuff that I really feel the need to be broadcasting everywhere. It's just the mundane routine. This is what looking after a property is. And one of the lovely dry cleaning services in central London, he got on the phone with me and I was like, I just need someone to fix the blind. It doesn't need a new blind. It just needs restringing. That is it. And a clean. Phoned me up and said, Natasha, do you know what? If you can ask the tenant to let me in but keep at a social distance, I will drive to the property, take down the blind, take it back to my workshop, dry clean it, restring it, come back and rehang it. How useful is that? Would that have ever happened pre-COVID? No. Now that is a service that I can get, and it's pretty reasonable. That service is £95, and that is for a full floor to ceiling height window. I mean, in London, that's never heard of. And now we're getting services like that. And if you're listening to this and you're saying, Natasha, you've just been ripped off, I don't care. It's helpful. It's happened. And I'm in New York. That's going on in London, and it's happening really quickly. Fantastic. Great. I'm so happy about that. So what I want to take away from my kind of ramblings here is the fact that things have changed, but I think everybody having a pause doesn't mean that you're not doing what you say you're doing. It means that you've been able to learn, you've been able to reflect, you've been able to think, actually, what matters? And I go back to the point. Property investment doesn't need to be impressive. It just needs to hit goals and meet objectives. And as long as you are doing that with your property portfolio, who cares what that looks like for other people? You just doing your job as a landlord. So let me talk to you about the next thing that I am looking at, which I guess people are thinking. I've had some people turn around and say, Natasha, I don't know even why you are looking at this right now. And that is commercial and mixed use property. And I'm going to take a punt on this because this is my bread and butter. This is what I was trained in. This is what I enjoy getting my teeth sunk into. So let's have a quick discussion around this and why I still think it's an important investment class, as long as you understand that there are risks involved. This is something that you're going to be taking on a punt on for the long run, not just for the short run, right? This is going to be about, okay, as a property investor, how do I make income for myself, but also how do I start looking at how I help businesses and propping things up? So just to get some definitions out of the way, what's the difference between commercial property and a mixed use property? Well, commercial property, and I use these terms interchangeably, but commercial property is property that has business in it. So would tend to be have leases that are on the 1954 Act and were just commercial tenants. So retail, office, industrial, leisure, that's kind of what I'm talking about there. And then mixed use is a bit of commercial, a bit of resi. That's what I'm talking about. So these types of properties fit into property investment strategy when you are looking to diversify. So that could mean that you have a portfolio of maybe all residential, which would be normal for a small property investor to have, but you're thinking, well, how do I diversify and mitigate against any risk? Okay, I might take some commercial. Now, at the moment, commercial is more risky than residential. I'm not going to lie, that is what's happening. But having different asset classes within your property portfolio means that you can, when the going's good with one of them, it might not be so good with the other, but you're always balancing that out so that you know you've probably got an income coming in from somewhere. So it would be the sort of thing that you would buy when you're thinking, oh, I'd like more high yielding property. Maybe I want commercial because I don't want any maintenance responsibility of my building. I want to collect rent on a quarterly basis. And I quite like the idea of structuring town centres and areas around that with the sort of commercial tenants that I'm after. And maybe that's of interest to you. And if you are like me, and there's probably not a lot of people out there like me who love doing this kind of stuff, if you are a bit of a lease geek, so you love reading leases and you like doing the strategy around that, commercial is really the sort of strategy that you'd want to get involved in. So where am I finding these type of investments? Well, Property Link from the EGI is a really good one. Although for anybody who's been on the EGI and just typed in, I would like retail, office, industrial and leisure, and then you get a whole country full of all of these commercial units, it might be mind-blowing, especially because they don't condense based upon a price level. So not like Rightmove, who does any properties under 100,000 or 200,000. No, the Property Link from the EGI base on pound per square foot. So that's where it can be a bit tough to judge. But if you decide on your investment area or where you'd like to invest, you can then zoom in and start having a look. Really easy to click through. I tend to go on okay, I'd like to buy something roughly around a 10% yield. So you can see that if it's £250,000, you'd need to be getting £25,000 in. And that comes up in the overview, so you can start having a look if that's something that's right for you. So you just get those numbers in your mind and you start looking through. The other place I look is the commercial auctions. There's a lot of commercial and mixed use property coming to commercial auctions at the moment. And they tend to start off at a reasonable amount. Or you could look on Rightmove Commercial. I don't find that the stock is that great on there. They don't have an overview or an all-round stock, but it's certainly worth checking out. So then what am I looking for in regards to these type of investments? Well, I have strict characteristics based upon lending. Now, just be aware with mixed use and commercial property that if there isn't a good quality tenant in the commercial unit, you'd probably struggle with a commercial mortgage. You'd have to buy on short-term finance, get that filled, put in a good lease, and from there you would then be able to refinance out onto a longer term mortgage if that was what you wanted to do. So you would really be looking for the commercial part of the property to be occupied with a lease that's going to run for at least the next 2 to 3 years from the date of purchase. That is de-risking the asset, and it means that you're guaranteed that rent for a couple of years. Just be wary of break clauses. Most commercial leases have a break clause in there somewhere. So if that break clause is literally the month after you're about to purchase. I'd be really worried about a tenant operating the brakes. So do make sure that you're structuring the purchase properly. You also want to check, have the commercial tenants been performing during COVID? So have they been paying their rent? Have they been paying their service charge? Have they been paying their insurance? All of these things are really important. Even if they've taken a discount, knowing that these tenants have been able to pay during one of the worst periods of time that they will ever experience is such a good sign going forward.